I think we look good, Kia. You think we look good? I think we're ready to start.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, well, Kia is pulling up the slides. Hello, everybody. My name is Brittany Franton. I am a field marketing specialist here in the East Bay. I'm joined today, of course, by Nakia Fritz, my colleague and friend. Nakia, where's your part of the territory at?
Yeah, I am Sonoma County, so I have those offices up there. And like you said, I'm Nakia Fritz, and we're excited to go through open houses. So
yeah, as we like approach and walk into what the new open house is going to look like, we're excited to kind of go through some of the information and that we put together for you guys today. So just starting off, we're all pretty aware by now, but if you wouldn't mind, please mute your microphone so we don't get that fun feedback. If you do have a question, it looks like we've got quite a few on today, so we are going to ask for you guys to put those into the chat, and since we're tag teaming today, we will address those as we go along. And then, of course, if for some reason you need to hop off early, this should be between a 30 to 45-minute class, so not too long, but if you do need to hop off, we will be sending out a recap, of course. Make sure if you're joining us here today by via telephone or mobile device that you add your first and last name into the chat for us so that we can include you on that recap. So what are we going to go over today? Fun stuff. We're going to go over and review some of the new rules and regulations. Now that is going to be something that we'll get into in just a moment, but it's going to be definitely by your city, county, and something that you want to also review with your manager. So we're going to touch base, but we're not going to give you the yays and nays for that. That's something that you need to do locally. We're going to talk about setting the stage, though. We're going to go over some great things about how you can be prepared and what you should have ready to go. We're going to talk about how you can advertise your open house. We're going to talk about making that magic happen. And then we're going to also go over what we think are some of the best tips and tricks for what you should do to follow up. So making sure that you capitalize as much as you can on all of the leads that you generate from your open house endeavors. Okay, and as we all pretty much know, what is an open house? An open house is two things for you. It's a way for you to show your professional abilities and demonstrate your know-how with buyers and sellers. It is, of course, to sell the house, but even more so for that, it is a lead generation for you. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Kia.
Yeah, and first of all, just talking about setting the stage and preparing for the open house. And that can start, obviously, I know a lot of agents are doing open houses for other agents. And I just want to key in on that first and making sure that you know the lay of the land. I mean, everything that you can possibly think of, because as you know, those questions come up when you've got people coming through the house and you want to be as on top of it as possible. I'm a notes person, whether it's something that you're going to put just in your phone or you're going to have written down when you go through the house with the listing agent so that you really can feel prepared and not like you're just stepping in. You want to make sure that you can own this and have that process go as smoothly as possible. In addition to that, obviously, just making sure the house is all ready to go, make it light and bright, make it just the way that you would want it to look, doing all those touching things. And when we were doing things, when you'd go through the house for the digital version, when I know a lot of people were doing those Facebook Lives, we talked about these tips. And the same rule applies. Obviously, you're going to get there early and you're going to double check all those things. Just so, I don't know about you, but I like to feel calm because an open house is kind of like a play. Like you have to go through these steps so that you know what you're going to say, you know all these questions that could potentially come up so that it does go as smoothly as possible. And biggest thing, obviously, the more prepared you are, those conversations are going to come more fluid, and hopefully you're able to get those leads and those things that also come from this. So you're not feeling panicked or feeling like you're missing something. Preparation is key. And those are just some of the quick things I want to talk about first before we even get into the advertising part, is just the house itself. Anything else, Brittany, on that? I know I've got another slide about that, but I want to see if you have
No,
anything
I think you covered it. I mean, you know, you want to make sure the place smells good. You want to open the windows. You want to know the lay of the land, because you need to know if what the emergency exit situation looks like. You also want to put valuables and things like that away, or have your clients put them away. Obviously, if there's any animals on the property, they need to find a place to be babysat at or to hang out at while you're having the open house, because even though I'm a dog lover, I totally understand when you have people that may have allergies or be fearful of animals as well. So those are some of the things that I think need to come into mind and come into play before you actually open the house up to everybody. But yeah.
Awesome. Advertising. This is the big part. Obviously, you want to get people there, and there's a lot you can do within the Coldwell Banker platform to advertise your open house. Starting off on social media, I know a lot of it you are using your different platforms, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. In BrandServe, you do have those templates available to you. Just type in open house. There's a template in there. There's also email versions and InTouch. Once again, searching that keyword, you're going to find something like this available to you. But making sure that we're at least using those channels, because you never know who might see that or who might share it, and doing that in advance so that you're not just hoping on luck and people walking by. E-blast, I know that a lot of people do that when you have a just listed. And one big pro tip that I'm going to just shout out to this guy here: when you're sending an e-blast to your FMS or your SSA, let us know all the pieces, and we can include the details about your open house so that that's part of it, because you do know that we can only send them on a certain amount of times when it's just listed, price reduction, or if it's back on market. So when you're sending that just listed, we want to have all the details. If you have a virtual tour link, but these things can all be included. I mean, let's not miss this big opportunity to blast it out to all those other agents with that e-blast. Door knocking, obviously, as soon as you are preparing for this, let your neighbors know around that you're doing this so that they can stop by and invite others. Broker's tour, and also your Boost digital ad. You have the opportunity to edit the text on there so that when that is going around, whether it's right around the property that you chose to target, or maybe you chose a different location, that you can edit that copy and put in the detail about your open house. So for the duration of however long your Boost digital ad is, you're getting that exposure and you're getting that opportunity to have new, fresh faces see that you've got this open house. So that's a pretty big list. Obviously, that takes some time. It takes some planning of you getting it all done. And of course, if you're doing this for another agent, you're stepping in, you may be responsible for getting these things prepared or getting it all organized. And that can be a conversation between you and the listing agent, but at least you have a checklist. I'm a checklist lady. I like to have things in front of me, whether it is preparation for an open house or things that I need to do for the listing itself, so that I am not missing those opportunities to get my listing out there. Then also being prepared, like I said, walking through the neighborhood, inviting people, making sure that you have that conversation with the homeowners, and if they want to write a personal note about why they really love the home, things that they can attest to that you stepping in might not notice or might not know about the house, that definitely could be a selling point for those people walking through the property. I know that we're still on the fence, or there's waiting for things to come back with touching and doing things with flyers. Doesn't mean you need to have 10 of them out. You can just have things on the counter, have one copy of it for people to see, or have things on a stand when it comes to details about the listing. People can see it. And I know that we are going to talk about different options with digital and print today. But one of those things with the open house presentation, you can have a buyer's presentation also handy on your mobile device so that you can send it off email, or you can have one of them printed out or put up on a wall so that you can at least have those details out as people come in and come out and are hanging around in the kitchen or wherever they are. So you've got those stats, or for me, those mental reminders of what other properties are around and comps and things like that may just be a resource for you at the bare minimum. At least you have that in front of you. So as things are going on and kind of in a fluster, you've got them right printed in front of you or on your phone in case those questions come up. That, I'll hand it back over to you then.
Okay. So one thing we thought might be really great for everybody is to get yourself a bag or a container and designate it as your to-go open house bin. That way you're not Friday night, you've put the kids down and now you've still got an hour worth of stuff to do because you don't have it all in one spot. You've got to get it together. You've kind of scrambling. So what we wanted to do is kind of focus on what some key items for your to-go bin could be. So in addition to getting the materials ready, the marketing stuff ready, individually for the open house, you can spend time doing that and you've already got all of this ready. And some of the suggested necessities we think you might need are, of course, some sanitation wipes or cleaner and paper towel, hand sanitizer, disposable masks, since we are still in a situation where we no longer have to socially distance, but we do need to wear masks. And again, when I speak to this, I'm speaking to it for me locally here where I'm at in the East Bay. It could differ from county to county. So you definitely want to follow the guidelines for your county. Business cards, stack of business cards for you guys ready to go. Generic buyer presentation, as we talked about before. It's awesome to go in and create, or as Kia said before, go in, create a buyer presentation, email it to yourself so you have one that you can digitally send to them right there on the spot. That not only allows you the opportunity to get their email address, but in addition to that, I like the idea of having a generic buyer presentation and a generic seller presentation, just in case you get the opportunity to really talk to somebody. You can walk them through the marketing, and you could be the only one touching that as you kind of present that to them. So those are really powerful pieces that I think you can have. You can print and bind them in the office in those really nice unibind covers, and just keep them for your use. Of course, display stands. So having one or two display stands are going to come in really, I think are going to become really important for you guys moving into the future. And table cards, if any. So, please don't touch, or, garage off limits, something along those lines that you might have. Put shoes off for the front door. You can have those laminated and ready to go. I should have put on here probably some tape. But air freshener as well. You never know what that house is going to smell like. Maybe they made some, crazy oniony dinner the night before and the whole house still smells like the crazy oniony dinner, which isn't always the nicest thing to walk into. And then, even though it's spelled wrong here, and I apologize for that because I did make this slide, but light bulbs. So there should be a T on there, but light bulbs are also important. You never know when you might walk into a back closet that the light bulb hasn't been replaced in 5 years and they never use, and you still want to be able to display that correctly and well, and not have any safety issues either. So I think these are all great suggestions. Of course, there's probably a lot going through your head, but these are some of the staple items we think will come really into play for you guys and save you maybe in, an instance where you didn't think to put those things together. Okay, so one thing we want to always do when we're at an open house is some lead generation, right? How are we going to capture those leads? What kind of digital, tools do we have? And I want to bring everybody back to Market Leader and the mobile app that's available to you with Market Leader. It used to be a year or two ago that you had to be a pro account user with InTouch, which is Market Leader. to have access to the Market Leader mobile app, and that is no longer the case. Now, I've gone ahead and put in here some links for you guys you can open this up on your mobile device and tap through so you can download the mobile application. You do need to be near a desktop as well, but there are instructions here on how to go about downloading, entering your PIN. And if anybody has any questions or needs to run through this is definitely something that your FMS can set up a short appointment with you to get this onto your mobile device. But it's an excellent way for you to right in the moment, put it right into your CRM, put a little note in about who they are, if they're a buyer or seller potential. And then once you get home, it's going to make your follow-up with them so much easier. Okay, and then as we kind of already alluded to, we kind of want to think about all the tools that we have and then think about different ways to implement them into our everyday life. We've got all these amazing tools, but I think that we're underutilizing them in a lot of different instances. So during the open house, we want to have our market report available. So you want to run a market report the night before, email it to yourself, and then you can also print one out depending on where you are and have that available for people to look at the recent sales in that neighborhood. If you send it to yourself, you'll be able to forward it directly to them while you're sitting there talking to them. Hey, what's your email? Let me send you what else is available and what been going on in this market. Those market reports are also awesome because they show the open house availability in the neighborhood. So say somebody is like, well, what else is open? What can I go see? This isn't working for me. The open houses will be right there for them to check out as well. It's got stats that are awesome. And I think this is also because you're going to capture that email address while you're there. This is something that you could come back to after the fact, add them into Prospect Square and set them up on their own market report. And they can get that digitally and stay up to date with what is going on in their neighborhood. So just some ideas on how we can take the tools we have and integrate them right there in real time. It's going to make you look super professional and super techy and intelligent, and it's going to be a good look. Okay, and this is the cream of the crop. So I think one of the biggest things that we want to bring to you guys is that, yeah, COVID sucks, boo, don't like it, right? It was terrible. And thank God we're almost out of it. But what I want to say is there were some good things about it, right? We got some tech training. We stopped using as much paper. And that's where we want to try and keep that going. There's no reason for us to go back to printed brochures and hundreds of flyers that have a mistake on them, and you've got to recycle them because you got to reprint them, and having to get to your SSA Friday before 4:30 because they're taking off early to pick them all up. That's not the case anymore. You guys have some really great tools that you can use, and we're going to go through these. So obviously, if you're using Listing Concierge, and we really hope that you do, you have the dot signal writer. The dot signal writer is, of course, on your sign, but why don't we integrate that into some standing signs within the home? Why don't we say text this number to 35620 and you'll get that mobile brochure? What that is not only doing is making you look very sophisticated, but also capturing, again, the lead information, because as soon as they text that in, you're going to receive in real time a text message with their contact information and that they're interested in at the property. It's an excellent way for you, again, to capture that information and then start doing that lead gen and the nurturing, putting them into campaigns and reaching out to them and staying up to date. And the other thing we have here is a QR code to display. So I've had quite a few questions. How do I create a QR code? How do I implement it in? I think this is really great because there are quite a few very good QR code generators that are free online. I've put 2 different options here depending on, what your user interface preferences are. But we also have had Claudia, who I want to say thank you to, create a excellent PDF form that we're going to be sending out in the recap today. It's got a insert image section, so it's the same thing. You just click onto it, you browse for that picture after you save the QR code and pop it right in there, and then you can put your text home and your to number in there. And one thing I do want to bring up that I didn't know before is across the board, all of our dot signal writers are text to the 35620 number you see here. So you'll pop that 35620 number in. All you need to do is find your home number or your text that you're supposed to send in for your office, and your SSA will be able to provide that information to you. Okay. And then we want to also remember to ask our clients how they heard about the open house. Was it a digital email? Was it you door knocking? Was it some sort of flyer that you sent out? And I want you guys to was it online? And I want you to take a tally of that, because that's really going to indicate how you allocate your time in marketing it. If one thing is not working, and that was maybe, you spending 2 hours putting together the flyers that you're going to drop by, maybe you're saving yourself those 2 hours and can spend a little more time on some other avenue of marketing your open house. Keep a tally, create notes for yourself. Like I talked about, using the mobile app for Market Leader is incredibly helpful to you. It's going to save you a lot of time, and you can pop right into the notes. They found out about this from an email blast, and they're a buyer that's looking for something similar in this area. And then you can go back in and you'll have a very insightful way on how you're going to market to them. And then again, just, right here, your marketing isn't ever set in stone. What worked 5 years ago may not work today. And it's something that you should always constantly be reinventing and looking at, and making sure that you're spending time on something that's actually benefiting you and your business. Okay, and last but not least, body language. Okay, so the very first thing you want to think about when you are back in real person and maybe not having to wear a mask is your facial expressions. That's going to be the number one thing that people take on. If you've got a grumpy face like the girl here, you're probably not the real estate agent I want to go talk to. So try and be light, but try and be very authentic. And you also want to do keep good posture, keep your hands open, don't cross your hands and slouch over. You want to be open, you want to be smiling, not crazy smile, but smiling, and just be inviting with the personality and the ambience that you're giving out there. That's going to give you a lot of good rapport, as well as keeping good eye contact and trying to hold gaze. Things like repeating someone's name when they tell you their name, it was going to help you really remember it as well. So there's a lot of little tips and tricks. If any of you are having or are kind of fearful of what this is going to be, because trust me, there are real estate agents out there that this doesn't come naturally to, but we would love to role play with you. We could go through some kind of, put you on the spots. We could even act it out. So reach out to your field marketing specialist team if you'd like to do a little bit of role playing to make yourself feel a little bit more comfortable about being in an open house environment and what that's going to mean. Feel free to let us know, and we'd love to walk you through that.
Definitely. And I love role playing also just with like your buyer's presentations and Moxie and your seller's presentations. So this doesn't just apply to open houses. I think there's lots of questions that we've come across as field marketing specialists, and we're talking to other people. So we're happy to do it then too, and ask you the tricky questions and the things that maybe just slipped your mind so that you can feel as prepared as possible.
That's always fun. Yeah, I think you'd be surprised. I know that your role play, yeah, it's gonna help me out and it's gonna make me know. But you'll be surprised when you walk through a couple questions and then you're in a real life situation, you get that same question and you're like, boom, I've got the answer to that one already ready to go. You're gonna feel a lot more confident and a lot more at ease in whatever situation you're at. So absolutely I love role playing.
Definitely. Other things is just as soon as you're wrapping up the open house, things you can do to really close the loop. And obviously thanking your sellers is one of them, letting them know how it went. So that's where we're circling back to those notes that we took or the tallies, or hopefully all the emails we sent with the buyer, the generic buyer or seller presentation. So you can let them know a little bit about, oh yeah, this is how many people I think. If you have to count with all your tallies and those things you sent, because it may be difficult to actually know how many people came through the door or just the excitement that you got. But those little reminders and notes and emails may trigger, oh yeah, I remember those people, or yeah, these people actually were really excited and they seemed promising. Whatever those tidbits can be, so that you're not just talking to your homeowner and saying it went well, it went great. That's you don't want to just leave them with that. You want to have something substantial, some sort of anecdote to what actually occurred, and make it so that they're feeling positive about the experience as well. Obviously, if you are hosting for another agent, giving them all the details as well. And that's where, once again, I'm going to refrain to or let you know about that digital aspect, is you really can help that person that wasn't able to be there with that follow-up and things that they can take from it, so that it's not just these numbers or just the tallies. You can actually give them substantial information that they can work with. And that's where it all just comes down to your note taking, whether you're using the Market Leader app or you're just using the notes on your phone. Everything helps, and being prepared in this way is definitely going to be able to close the loop on those pieces. I like to keep things personal too, so maybe it's even sending that letter. That's why I've got this icon for myself, so that people can see that as well. Because you're going to send the homeowners, you're going to be talking with them, but maybe just as a nice way just to touch base again. We all know those personalized things really do hit home when we're so used to receiving things just verbally or digital. There's still that piece with real estate that makes it an extra touch in anything that we can do. Moving into that as well, following up with your leads. So those people that you actually did gather the information from, checking out those market reports, see if you actually did set them up, if they're opening them, otherwise getting them set up with a market report. Those are my personal favorite because they have the active listings at the bottom, all the statistical data that the area reports have as well, with just the cream of what's going on with that area. But market reports definitely have that listing alert type feel to them, so that they really can apply to people looking or just in that neighborhood, and easy to set up. Doing something afterwards on social media. So if you set up something that was through Brand Server, something that you have in whatever other program you're using, letting people know how it went. Not only are your other real estate colleagues going to be able to see that, but hopefully other people that visited, and anything you can put to that about the success of it or just what's going on with the property, an update. Those things really do help. And I've heard more success stories lately with just the power of social media. And I know sometimes it feels like you're just throwing darts trying to see if anything hits home, but I promise you that the more consistent you can be, and the way that you can just keep people abreast of what's going on, is going to help you. And then adding your contacts into Clients for Life and Prospect Square. I know, or In Touch rather, know that I know that it can be one of those things that, oh yeah, I've got to add contacts. I have to remember to put them in both those places. I'll do it tomorrow. But you're just going to end up shooting yourself in the foot, and you're going to forget about those people, and who knows what their next steps are, what they're planning to do. It is to your benefit, whether you're adding them manually, just adding a couple contacts right then and there, or you're adding them to a spreadsheet. I always instruct people, head into InTouch, put them in there, and it's really easy to extract and then plop into Prospect Square, so that you are tick for tack with your contacts and you're staying on top of it. There's a lot of things that get pushed back, but I promise you that you're most likely going to be getting your deals and your next leads from those people that you talked with or that you had that last conversation with in your primary sphere. So making sure that you're not letting those fall through the cracks is definitely to your benefit. And there's lots of ways. I've taught a whole class just about that contact syncing, but there's lots of things we can do as FMSs and SSAs to help you. And that's what we're here for. So not making sure that we close the loop on all those things after an open house is important in context too.
I absolutely love when you talked about like the social media kind of recap, because not only is that a recap to anybody who's like, ooh, maybe I'll go see this open house, or but the aspect of the other agent thing too, Kia, like
Mhm.
if you're a brand new real estate agent, you're trying to get your foot in the door, and maybe you're hosting open houses for other agents. If other agents start seeing you do so much follow through and follow up that you're going in and saying, here's how today went, it was excellent, and you're recapping on how your open house was, that's just going to show them how professionally and how well organized you were with the open house, and probably get you opportunities to get your foot in the door with other agents. So I love that. I like that piece of it a lot.
I don't
So
see
I
it.
think I thought before I hop into the QR code, we just open it up, see if anybody has any quick questions on any of the topics or any of the stuff that we've gone over today so far. Okay, well, if you do think of something, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm gonna go ahead and take control here and share my screen with you guys. So I've gone ahead and pulled up a listing or a single property website for an agent here in the Pleasanton office. Beautiful. It was created by our listing concierge team or platform, and I want to be able to have this and share this while I've got my open house. So first off, I want to show you guys the document that we've put together. So we've got this is going to come to you guys, and you are able to pop in the QR code here, and I'll go over that in just a moment. And then you're going to be able to put in your text ID and that 35620 number here. So this is going to come out to all of you, which is what this next portion is going to be. So I had two QR code free generators. Or we had two free generators gone ahead, and we put the links into the slides that'll also be included in the recap. Depending on which one you like, they pretty much do the same thing. One is just super simple. You pop the text in here or the URL or whatever you want to have as your QR code. The second one's got a little bit more options for you. So just depending, and you can go in and you can change shape and color. This one does make you log in. The QR, the one here in green, does not make you have to create an account. You'll notice though, and I'm just going to give you guys a little heads up right off the bat, these start now. That's not what you want to pitch, because those take you to downloading Google Chrome. Okay, so those are just kind of little free pop ads in there. What we want to do is we want to take the URL from wherever we want to direct that traffic with the QR code. And we're going to copy that. We're just going to paste that in there. And here's our static code. Okay, so all we need to do is, and if you don't want a margin on it, you can take off the margin, and then you want to hit save. You can give it your file name. So I'm just going to put QR. And we want to choose PNG, which is a file format, and then go ahead and save. And that's going to download that to my computer. And it's going to look just like this. Okay, so then I want to take this and I want to save this actually to my computer now. And I'm just going to put this in here. All right, and go ahead and close that out. And then I'm going to go back to that document that we had. I'm going to click on the picture icon here and browse for that. And let me get into the correct spot here. Bear with me, everybody. And here's my QR code that I saved. I'm going to pop that in there. And now I've got the QR code populating in the document. Same process for that other platform. And really, I think as simplified as we could make it for you guys, so you have an easy, really easy document that you can print off, create yourself, put into a page stand or a paper stand. Maybe have a couple of them throughout the home, one in the kitchen, one in the entryway, so that right off the bat, people can be walking through, bring this up on their camera and be taken to the single property website and get all of the information for that property versus having the printed materials. Any questions on any of this?
I do.
Sure. Hi, Lisa.
Hi. I was going to ask for the dot signal code. Who do I, if I'm doing an open house for another agent and they don't have a writer, where do I get that?
If they do not have a listing concierge order, they're not going to have the dot signal availability. But that being said, I think they will still be able to because it's by office. So you just need to reach out to your SSA and find out what the text, ID is. So for like Pleasanton, I think it's home 7. For Walnut Creek, it's home 8. You just want to reach out to your SSA, find out what that is, and you can pop that on there. But I would test it prior to. And one thing that is on the slides that I'll come back to, the slide directions for this portion of it, read through on the dot signal one, because there is a place where you type in presentation, send it to 35620, and it will actually send you back like a demo of that. And you can also use that on your listing presentations. When you go out there, you could show your clients in real time what everybody who views that is going to see.
But you have to be at the home in order for that to work, right? Because
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, it's by it's geo targeting, so you need to be close to that listing.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other questions? It was a really good question. Yes, we are going to send out a recording of this after. Absolutely. It's going to come to you guys pretty shortly because I already got the recap ready to go for you. But again, if you are joining us here today by a mobile device, we don't know who you are because we can't see your name. So please put it into the chat so that we can make sure we include you on that. All right. Well, Kia, do we have anything else we want to add in here? Or are we ready to wrap this up?
I think we're ready to wrap this up. We covered it all. Like Brittany said at the very beginning, if you have any other questions just about the regulations and rules, we didn't really get to that, but we do want you to, we kind of realize that we're in the East Bay and North Bay right now and we don't want to say the wrong thing. So please reach out to your manager if you have questions on that. I know it's going to be changing probably every day still. We're getting close, but I know that there's different things. So we're not going to quite speak to that, but know that those are your go-to for that. But with anything that we covered today, everything from pre-marketing, afterwards, things like that, all the things in my CV desk that we referred to, we can walk you through so that you're prepared with those market reports, things in Moxie, things in InTouch for an e-flyer or a regular flyer if you do still want that print, although digital is a sneaky way to get those email addresses, which we all are on the hunt for. So keeping those all in mind, I guess I just recaps the whole class in a couple seconds, but that's that's what I was going for.
Good, I like it. Well, thank you, Kia. Thank everybody for joining us today. We appreciate you and your time. And we hope you guys get out there, have some killer open houses and enjoy yourself. I was going to say something else, but I really do. I hope this helped you. I hope it helps your business and the success and helps you sell more homes and make more money. And thanks for coming. Have a good one, everyone.
Thanks, Brittany. Thanks, Nakia.